speaking of the Broncos and their running game, are we paying the dividends right now with the depth that they have for the Sean Payton and Russell Wilson trades? Because like with the Wilson trade, we lost approximate 7 starters, plus another first rounder for Sean. We did get a third rounder back from the Saints, which is arguably a starter. But like, are we paying the cost of that now, of not having the depth that we need in the positions? And is that hurting our running game or just, the team depth in general?
No,
or go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
No, Scott, start. No, go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead, Scott.
I give you from a GM perspective if I give you from coaching.
Well, yeah, I think Javonte Williams is a hell of a football player. You know what? And he's just going to keep going up and up and up. As long he's got to stay healthy, of course. But not only when you start making trades, because I always learned from Ron Wolf was the fact that you acquire picks, not give picks away, because you need depth. And especially we talked about this the other day. 17-game season. It's going to go an 18-game season. You're going to have injuries, and we've already seen them, a lot of them. And that's part of the process. But I was always taught and mentored to acquire picks, not give picks away. Now, if you got a superstar you're going to get, you got a chance to take you to the Super Bowl and be a Super Bowl contender or whatever, then I could think about it. But I always acquired picks. I never gave picks away.
What about you, CJ? What are your thoughts on the depth there and all the trades to get 2 players or 2 guys on the?
So it's tough, right? I mean, I don't know if I said this here or I said this somewhere else. I just remember like when we had Coop, like the difference between Foxy and Kubiak. And obviously we've had successful seasons with both. Kubiak will have veteran days off and make all these young guys get opportunities at certain positions because running back, you're going to get banged up. O-line, D-line, you potentially going to get banged up, right? That's besides like Peyton was older, so obviously Peyton got his day off. But like, if you can protect your quarterback, obviously you're fine. You don't want to be playing with your backup quarterback all year. But certain positions like linebacker, you want those depth, and you usually give them more reps during OTAs and training camp so they can grow. So if the time comes during the season, they can be there. I agree with Scott as far as Javonte being a hell of a football player. I think he's a really great, strong back. I do believe that Sean has to, play calling is huge. And I think some people don't understand on both sides of the ball as coordinators how important that is in getting Javonte in the rhythm. Like, it's not the fact that they had 163 total yards. It's the fact that they're not trying to establish the run from whatever reason. And like I said, maybe it's less RPO and more actually designed runs in Javonte Field and let him do what he do, right? And it's actually opposing your will. You have to work on it. You have to practice it. You have to do those things. But I think as far as the depth part of it, I don't know if the depth is the issue why the Broncos can't run the ball. I think it's the fact that whatever Sean sees on paper or whatever he got up front, obviously I'm not at practice every day to understand the guards and the tackles and what's going on. But whatever he sees or whatever he got, it's a reason why he's not consistently trying to establish that. And sometimes, coordinators, I've seen this with Adam Gase. I've seen this with Gary Kubiak, who does run first, right? I've seen this with Sean McVay. Coordinators don't want to sit there and watch you just getting 2-3 yards all day either now. Even though you're supposed to stick with it because eventually that grows, but you don't want to sit there and watch that all day and putting your quarterbacks in 3rd and 6th section when you got rookie quarterbacks. So I know the play calling is a little different. Having a guy like Drew Brees or having a guy like Russell Wilson, you're okay being in 3rd and 6th and 3rd and 7 every once in a while because who they are. You're not okay with that with Bo Nix. So if you're not being efficient in a run, I can see that as well.
Let me throw this out there too, though. I think the way that the training camps have been, and the offensive line's not playing in preseason. We're basically 2 preseason games in. You watched the Jets last night, and people were saying they didn't really run the ball well in the first 2 weeks. All of a sudden, they're getting their act together. I think you're going to see some of that. The run game is not as easy as you think it is to make it mesh, and there's timing involved and there's coordination involved. And I think that now that teams are getting a couple preseason or regular season games in, people are going to figure out how to run the ball.
No, I think you're spot on there. I think a lot of the teams look at the first 4 weeks now of the regular season as like the official preseason because none of these guys, a lot of these guys don't play in the actual preseason. So they're seeing
Aaron Rodgers didn't take 1 snap in preseason.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Bryce Young. Bryce Young took 1 series in the last preseason game.